Welcome to the Jazz Improvisation Workbook series. So here's the deal. We're diving into the minds of the jazz masters, breaking down their essential concepts and turning them into easy step-by-step exercises. Each volume is about a specific jazz legend, and each lesson is about a specific line played by that legend. Today, it's the one and only Hank Jones. We'll take his signature moves, practice them together, and before you know it, you'll be weaving these ideas seamlessly into your own solos. Sound good? Then here's your first Hank Jones line. As you can tell, this is a really easy line, but what I want you to focus on is your ability to adapt this line by changing a few of the notes so that it still works over the harmonic progression. The progression is a 1-5 of 2, 2-5 in the key of F major. This is a typical progression found in many jazz standards. So the first thing that I want to look at is some of the harmonic magic that Hank Jones brings to the table. One of his go-to moves is pairing the 5 of 2 chord, in our case D7, with its tritone substitution A flat 7. Now if you're thinking tritone subs, I've heard of them before, but I'm not quite sure what they are. Well, simply, a tritone sub is another dominant chord rooted a tritone away from the original chord. It also shares the same exact tritone as the original chord. The tritone created by D7 and A flat 7's guide tones are identical. The cool thing is that Hank uses these tritone subs to reharmonize on the fly. Now let's talk scales. On that D7, you've got your standard Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13 for the 5 of 2. But for that extra edge, Hank uses the altered scale. Why? Because the D7 altered is the same as the A flat Lydian flat 7, and both come from the E flat melodic minor scale. So when you're swapping a dominant chord for its tritone sub, these scales unlock some great tensions and make your line sound amazing over either chord. So in measure 2 of this line, Hank is thinking D7 and or A flat 7. Now let's talk about left hand voicings and comping. Hank Jones is a master of keeping it simple and effective. He often uses standard shell voicings. 2-note voicings like root and 7th, root and 3rd, or even root and 10th if your hands can handle the stretch. And also the trusty 3rd and 7th, also known as the guide tones. Simple, right? For 3-note voicings, Hank goes for root, 3rd, and 7th, or opens things up with root, 5th, and 3rd. These are clean, strong voicings that leave plenty of room for the right hand to shine. It's also important to look at the rhythmic placement of the comping. Hank's comping is all about the basic groove. He places voicings on downbeats and throws in short chords on upbeats, often anticipating the next chord in the progression. This creates a rhythmic flow that keeps the harmony always moving forward. Now let's talk about this specific original Hank Jones line. Remember that on the D7, we're not just sticking to the basics, we're also considering the altered scale. That's why at the end of the first measure, you'll see an F natural. It's the sharp 9 of the D7. Now, in the variations that we created for this line, we're sticking to the same exact concepts, swapping out some chord tones and adding chromatic approach tones to hit our targets. But the original rhythmic words stay the same. And here's the key thing. Those approach tones don't have to fit the current chord. It's all about where they're going. The target notes are what release the tension and make everything click. Take a look at our first variation. This C sharp is a chromatic approach to D. It doesn't fit the F chord, but it releases all the tension when it resolves to the D. All right, so now it's time to practice with the call and response backing track. You'll have a slow, a medium, and a fast tempo track to practice with. And all of our members will receive a PDF with today's lesson, or you can get it on mdex.com, link in the description down below. Remember that if you own the book, you should also use the worksheets for this line to write your own solo and practice with the solo backing track. And when you get really good at it, you should try coming up with lines in real time. Here are the call and response backing tracks for today's Hank Jones line.